Chapter 9. The Distance Between Them. The first week apart felt manageable. Not easy, but manageable. They texted constantly like they were trying to fill every gap the distance created. Little things at first. Good morning. Did you eat? Look at this view. Photos followed Ronan, sent sunsets that bled gold into the ocean. The same stretch of beach they'd walked together. Lilly sent snapshots of her coffee cups, balanced on stacks of legal files, her version of survival. Sometimes they send nothing important at all. Just proof. I'm still here. You're still here. At night they called, without fail. It became routine, something steady to hold on to when everything else felt far away. Lilly would curl up on her couch, shoes kicked off, exhaustion clinging to her bones. Ronan would step outside, and the ocean a quiet presence behind him. They'd talk about nothing and everything. Her cases, his projects, random memories, half-finished thoughts, and sometimes silence. Not the heavy kind, the comfortable kind. The kind that made the distance feel smaller. But routines don't always survive reality. By the second week, work hit Lilly like a freight train. It started late at night, then another. Then a deposition that ran longer than expected, followed by a client emergency, followed by paperwork that refused to end. Her mornings blurred into nights. Coffee replaced sleep. Her apartment became a place she passed through instead of living in. She still thought about him constantly. That didn't change. If anything, it got worse. She'd catch herself reaching for her phone in the middle of the day, wanting to tell him something small, something insignificant, just because it was him. But then reality would snap back. Another email, another deadline, another hour lost. One night, she finally called him, an hour later than usual. Her heart was already tight as she listened to the phone ring. Once, twice, 3 times. Hey, Ronan answered, his voice rough with sleep. Guilt hit her instantly. Hey, she said softly. I'm sorry, work ran late. There was a pause at the other end. It's okay, but it didn't sound okay. She sat down on the edge of her couch, tucking her legs beneath her, like she always did when they were talking, trying to recreate something that felt familiar. How was your day? She asked. Fine. Too quick, too short. Just fine? Yeah, she waited. For anything. A story, a complaint, a joke. Something that sounded like him. Nothing came. The silence stretched, thin and fragile. Ronan, she said gently. Talk to me. Another pause. Longer this time. I'm tired. Her grip tightened on the phone. Of what? A quiet exhale. Everything. The words settled heavily between them. Her stomach twisted. This wasn't just tiring. This was something deeper. Something he wasn't saying. Are we okay? She asked, the question slipping out before she could stop it. Silence. Not the comfortable kind. The kind that makes your chest tighten. The kind that fills your head with worst-case scenarios. She closed her eyes, gripping the phone tighter. Say something. Please say something. Yeah, he said finally. We're okay. But something in his voice didn't match the words. It was softer, distant, like he was trying to convince himself as much as her. And she felt it. That shift. Small, but real. I miss you, she said quietly. The words came out more vulnerable than she expected. There was a beat, then, yeah, he said, me too. But this time it wasn't enough, because she didn't just miss him in the abstract. She missed everything. The way he laughed without holding back. The way conversations with him felt effortless. The way silence with him didn't feel empty. She missed the version of herself she'd been with him. Lighter, uncomplicated, alive. She glanced around her apartment, the dim lighting, the stack of files on her table, the life she'd worked so hard to build, and suddenly it felt small. Ronan, she said, her voice softer now. I keep thinking about coming back. The words hung there, fragile, hopeful. On the other end, she heard him shift slightly. Yeah? Even if it's just for a few days, she continued. She stopped, searching for the right words. I want to see you again, not through a screen, not like this. Her chest tightened. I want something real, she added. Another pause, longer this time. He swallowed, the sound faint but unmistakable. You think I don't? He said quietly. Her breath caught. Then say it, she whispered. I think about you all the time, he admitted, his voice low. More than I should, probably. A small, broken laugh escaped her. That's not a problem. It is when I can't do anything about it. That hit. Hard. I keep replaying that night, he continued. The beach, the storm, you in my house looking at me like... He stopped himself. Like what? She asked softly. Like I wasn't already losing everything. Her heart dropped. Ronan, He exhaled sharply. I wish you were here. There it was. Raw, unfiltered. The truth he'd been holding back. I wish that too, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. The distance between them suddenly felt unbearable. Not just miles, something heavier, unspoken, unresolved. I could come this weekend, she said quickly, almost without thinking. I'll figure something out. There was a pause, and this one felt different. Not hesitant, guarded. You don't have to do that, he said, and her chest tightened. I want to. I know, he said. But you've got work, your life. I don't want to pull you away from that. You're not pulling me away, she said more firmly now. I'm choosing it. Silence again. But this time, it wasn't uncertainty, it was resistance. I'll think about it, he said finally. Her heart sank slightly. Okay, she said, though it didn't feel okay. They stayed on the phone a little longer after that. But something had changed. The words didn't come as easily. The breaks lasted longer. And when they finally said goodnight, it felt incomplete, like something important had been left unsaid. After the call ended, Lily sat there for a long time, staring at her phone. Her reflection stared back at her from the dark screen, tired, worried, missing him in a way that felt deeper than she was ready to admit. Miles away, Ronan stood outside, the ocean stretching endlessly in front of him. He looked at the same horizon they'd shared, but it didn't feel the same anymore. Because now, she wasn't beside him. And wanting to see her again wasn't just a feeling, it was a need, one that neither of them knew how to fix.